Auburn. That's a 7:30 start tonight. Winner advances to the College World Series. So, with all that out there, the mega power of the SEC, if you will, the SEC potentially locking in 6 teams out of 8 at the College World Series. And I know I'm granting some leeway here with Oklahoma and Texas. But I do think it begs the question. When you think about the future of college sports with an expanded SEC, when you think about what that league has been able to do to capitalize off of the financial benefits of football and what potentially may loom for them, there's two ways to look at this. The first way is to look at it and go, well, you know what? I'm going to get tired of the SEC. I understand. I respect that opinion. The other way to look at it is this. In any way, shape, or form within an expanded conferences, with conferences growing, one of the byproducts is absolutely going to be that there is less conference representation in championship series, in the Final Four, in the college football playoff. I mean, that's going to be a byproduct of your larger, more established, bigger budgeted programs all coming together in one league. So you don't have to, at this point, be overly concerned, because I don't think this is going to be something that is unique to the SEC at points during college sports over the next 10 or 15 years. If leagues continue to add programs, if we get to 4 16-team conferences, my hunch is that at 64, you are probably going to see some of this. The numbers just bear it out. But maybe most impressively, the fact that Tennessee is not in and Notre Dame is. And you have to think back to the show on Friday. Mike Martin Jr. fired at Florida State. Rumors have been swirling about Link Jarrett maybe going to Clemson. Link Jarrett was a former Florida State baseball player. Some believe that the Seminoles, in advance of trying to get out in front of maybe Clemson, made a move to fire Mike Martin Jr. His father had an unbelievable career for the Seminoles. But Jr. wasn't getting the JOBDONE, the job done. And so he's out. Could that move have been made on Friday with the belief that because Tennessee baseball has been just dominant this season, that today would be a day where Florida State could hire Link Jarrett? I mean, maybe so. But instead, the Fighting Irish fight through. Tennessee's season crumbles. I saw tweets on social media, especially from our buddy William Qualkenbush, who's, I think you would say, a bit of a purist of the game. William Qualkenbush, who's not going to be with us in hour 2, he is on vacation this week, looking to get hooked up with either Aaron Fitt from D1Baseball.com or Kendall Rogers. We may even get a stop by Nathaniel Rutherford, who covers the Tennessee Volunteers as well. But nonetheless, this Tennessee ball club had been sensational all season, but they were a little over the top when it came down to the unwritten rules of the game. Qualk tweeting, Tennessee has played all season like rebellious teenagers whose parents are gone for the weekend. Now they look like whiny teenagers who think the rules don't apply to them. Hate to see it. He also said they made a mockery of the game all year long and didn't even get to Omaha. Hope all
it's now in front of them.
And testosterone were worth it.
I think they are excited about
the Volunteers out. Notre Dame, Link Jarrett advances, which pushes back, I'm certain, pushes back the potential landing spot for Link Jarrett at Florida State. Here's Tennessee baseball coach Tony Vitello following their season-ending loss to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish at the Knoxville Super Regional.
Obviously, congratulations to Notre Dame. I'd say they have a lot to do with what I'm at fault for as far as decision-making, and job of a coach is once the game starts, put your guys in a good position to succeed. And I didn't do that. But this is a job that requires big boy decisions, and they come at high stakes when you play in our league or you get into the postseason. A lot of that was discomfort from things we saw out of Notre Dame. So, again, a credit to them. And then, two, you got to execute. So they did that throughout the weekend. I thought our guys played good defense. And obviously we kind of did some damage yesterday on the scoreboard. But that'll stick with me. Notre Dame will get to go to Omaha and enjoy that and probably do some damage. It's a really tough group. And I think what needs to stick with our guys once time passes, which they say time heals all wounds. I don't know who they are because sometimes those take a long time. But 57, that's a lot. That's a lot. A team that bunch of good kids, a couple maniacs out there, but accused of bats. I've never seen a kid accused of doctoring a ball, accused of doing the Astros and banging on the bench. There's other. Accused of signaling 3-3, and that's supposed to be the double bird. A lot of that stuff was just, because of how dynamic they were as a group and what they accomplished. And they did some extraordinary things. And really, it was just kind of like yesterday. You slide Trey Lipscomb into the 4-hole, Drew Gilbert's out, and gets an RBI in the first inning. That obviously is not the most important play of the weekend, but it's one to me that defines this group of a bunch of guys that got each other's back.
So there you go. Again, Coach Tony Vitello of Tennessee. They are out. Program record 57 games. Most baseball seasons, if you get to 40 wins, that's a heck of a year. 57 wins, 9 losses, number 1 seed, no College World Series. 7-3, the final score yesterday. Notre Dame advances. Tennessee was 49-0 when leading after 6 innings heading into yesterday's game. But unfortunately, a couple of long balls in that contest, the Volunteers were unable to answer. And Chase Burns' great 6 innings pitched go by the wayside in the 7th. Burns allowed a 1-out double to Carter Putz. Got a pop out by Notre Dame catcher David LaManna. Hit a 2-run homer into the Tennessee bullpen to tie the score at 3 apiece.
Sports Talk.
LaManna only had 1 home run
Sports
in his
Talk.
139 at-bats this season, so timing is everything on that front. Then Brannington hit a long foul ball over the left field fence before squaring up onto another one that he took yard to give Notre Dame a lead they would not relinquish at 4-3. Burns ended up allowing 4 runs on 5 hits and 6 2/3. And it was not enough, as the bats for Tennessee could also not do what they had done all season, which was carry the Volunteers. So that's it. Notre Dame advances. The Link Jarrett chase, so to speak, by Florida State continues. And with a couple of games, Stanford and Connecticut and Auburn and Oregon State taking place today, we still don't know what the entire docket at the College World Series will look like, but it is SEC heavy and future SEC heavier. As I mentioned, when you combine those two leagues at this point, or when you combine Texas and Oklahoma, who, by the way, remember they were playing in the women's softball World Series, Texas and Oklahoma. So baseball season in the Midwest just crushing it right now. And again, the SEC dominant. Notre Dame, the Atlantic Coast Conference's last hope, as every other ACC team, and there were 4 of them, all were eliminated over the weekend, including Virginia Tech, who a lot of people did not buy into the Hokies. I had a lot of people tell me, Swanee, and I said this, I thought, in fairness to Virginia Tech, one of the dynamics that can take place is that when a team is not, quote unquote, known for success in a specific sport, they can be ostracized or not supported nearly as much as normal as some other teams would because you're not accustomed to them. Virginia Tech dropped the opening game on Friday, 5-4 to Oklahoma. They bounced back on Saturday, winning 14-8. But then yesterday, Virginia Tech falls 11-2, and they were eliminated from postseason play as the Oklahoma Sooners advanced to the College World Series. As for North Carolina, another team, well, let me actually start with Louisville because they played on Friday. Louisville lost 5-4 to Texas A&M on Friday, then were swept 4-3 final score on Saturday to wrap up that series. Arkansas beat North Carolina in the opener 4-1 and then knocked them off in game 2 4-3. Chapel Hill Regional, Chapel Hill done. ACC out, leaving just Notre Dame remaining in the College World Series, awaiting the final couple of teams there in the College World Series. Also, obviously, Ole Miss knocked off Southern Miss to advance to the College World Series. Again, Texas, big yesterday, 11-1. They bounced back after losing game 1. And Coach Godwin in East Carolina failed to reach the College World Series, which I know is a bitter disappointment, as that is a huge goal for them. Huge goal for them. And so, with that being said, that's kind of a pretty quick look, so to speak, at the weekend thus far. 803-450, and again, I got to extend the weekend into today because we still got a couple of matchups taking place. Don't forget, no William Qualkenbush on the program today. He is on vacation, enjoying some time at the beach. Told us he might even hit some golf balls. We've also got some NBA conversations coming up here on the program for you in just a little bit, as Game 5 tonight, 9 o'clock ABC, Golden State evened the series on the back of one of the best shooters we've ever seen, Steph Curry. But an aging Steph Curry was timeless in Game 4. And the Golden State Warriors steal back home court advantage. So we'll talk about that for sure coming up here on the program in just a little bit. But the recruiting trail for your Clemson Tigers. Clemson Tigers has been on fire. Gasoline induced. Clemson rocketing up the recruiting rankings. 4-star after 4-star after 4-star committing. And today, that news continued as Clemson, about 1 o'clock this afternoon, secured the commitment of one of the top linebackers in the state of Georgia, an NFL legacy, and a young man that fits the mold that Wes Goodwin and company are looking for as it pertains to the linebacker spot in the future at Clemson. We'll give you some insight into that, plus a whole lot more, and a couple of other recruits expected to make their announcements known tomorrow. Listen, if you are a subscriber to our website, thank you. If you are not, consider subscribing. ClemsonSportsTalk.com. $1 for 3 months of coverage. We've added to the squad, and we are continuing to grow. We would love to have you support us. After those 3 months are done, you get locked in at a rate of $63.17. That's right, Gamecocks. I said it. $63.17. We come back and update you on recruiting right here on the show that shakes the Southland.
Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
A lot of people are hitting their brakes. Charleston Highway is
All right, so I'm guessing now. You guys should be able to hear me. There we go. That's a little hot.
I'm guessing now.
A little hot. But got a couple of things I need to tweak on that front. But yeah, I think we got it now. Thank you. Yeah, I got it. Thanks, Weeda. Thanks, Tommy. Got a couple of little things I need to tweak. But I'm going to put you back to your regularly scheduled program. But we'll probably stay with this for about another hour on the show streaming. All right. I'll talk to you other end. Thanks.
And I'm Alex Wong. If you want a podcast about the NBA and everything that's taking place off the court, I'm talking about fashion, I'm talking about social media, I'm talking about favorite post-game quotes, we've got you.
You know we're talking about starter jackets, Alex.
Yeah, I know, and you're going to remind me about the Charlotte Hornets one that my parents never bought me.
Ooh, I'm sorry about that.
Anyways, check out Running the Break with CJ and Alex on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
Every year, Steve Faircal climbs the stairs at the John Hancock Center in Chicago, 94 floors to the top.
It's called the Hustle Up the Hancock.
It's hard to believe when you watch Steve today that a few years ago, his lungs were failing and he was fighting to survive.
For 8 hours a day, someone was pounding on my chest to try and keep my lungs clear. I honestly don't think like I had more than a couple weeks to live.
That's when Steve received the gift of life, a double lung transplant made possible by an organ donor.
After I got my new lungs, I started doing things that I had never been able to do. I never knew that breathing could feel this good.
Steve climbs to honor his donor and to raise awareness for organ, eye, and tissue donation.
Wouldn't you like that when you left this beautiful planet, that you could save a few lives on your way out? It's an incredible gift.
Imagine what you could make possible by leaving behind the gift of life. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Welcome back to Clemson Sports Talk. Join the show now at 978-1832 or text 803-450-0086.
It is the show that shakes the Southland Clemson Sports Talk on a Monday afternoon steamy, man. It was like 10 this morning, and it said it was 92, but felt like 101. Shut it down now, South Carolina. It is way too hot. Way too hot. 803-450-0086. Hot, speaking of, the recruiting trail for Clemson. Yes, it is. Including a very familiar name.
Split backs this time. And this is where the crowd noise is the loudest. Chandler drops. Up the middle, touchdown. Jamal Anderson out of the backfield. And there's the Dirty Birds.
Jamal Anderson of Dirty Bird fame, his son, Jamal Anderson, committed to Clemson earlier today. We had the article up over on ClemsonSportsTalk.com for you. Anderson, an NFL legacy, becomes Clemson's 10th commit in the 2023 recruiting puzzle. His mother, Mia, was a track star during her time at Georgia. He was a 7A All-Region and All-State selection back in 2021. 6'4", 202-pounder. Commits to Clemson. If you look at the Tigers and they're recruiting at the linebacker spot, think Trenton Simpson, Isaiah Simmons, Barrett Carter. Okay, freakishly talented, athletic, long, lean, can move well in space. That's what you get with a kid like Jamal Anderson. He joins Christopher Vazina, Nathaniel Joseph, David Ojebe, Brandon Strozier, Ian Reed, Kylan Webb, Olson Henry, Avion Terrell, and Noble Johnson as the 10th commit in the 2023 recruiting class. As for Avion Terrell, our exclusive interview with Terrell is up over on our website right now, ClemsonSportsTalk.com, for our premium subscribers. $1 for 3 months of coverage. After that, $63.17. Here's a snippet of our interview with Avion Terrell. It is the show that shakes the Southland Clemson Sports Talk, and we are locked in right now with Avion Terrell, one of Clemson's latest commits. As the Tigers have picked up 2 commitments, Avion, since yesterday when you committed. You got the ball rolling. How excited was your family, and how excited were you to finally get your commitment out there?
I was excited to get it out there. Feel me? My family was happy. Coaches was happy. Brothers and sisters was happy. Everybody was happy. So, Clemson feel like home. So they was all ready for me to make that announcement.
Clemson feels like home. That was Avion Terrell, A.J. Terrell's brother. Again, that full exclusive article up right now on our website with the interview. Go check it out. Additionally, at that time, Avion had kind of kicked it off, and 2 more guys, kind of came on board. Well, it has just been steamrolling as of late at Clemson. And it's one of the more impressive things, I think, that the Tigers have done is how they've put together, this stretch, if you will, including Saturday's commitment from 4-star wide receiver out of the state of Texas, Noble Johnson, 6'2", 210 pounds. Man, chiseled, looks the part. If he grows another inch, another 2 inches, and again, I don't know how much he will, but if he does, look out, because that is another freakishly gifted wide receiver. Not to mention the fact that the Tigers have now gone into the Lone Star State since the 2020 recruiting class when they brought in 4-star R.J. Mickens, Andrew Makuba in 2021, Cade Klubnik in 2022, and now with Ian Reed, the offensive lineman, who projects to play guard, maybe tackle. Probably, at Clemson, they like to cross-train him, but most likely a guard. Ian Reed, the Tigers have a Texas two-step. And momentum continuing to roll, so much so that if you, depending on where you like to look to see your class rankings, if you will, when you look at the class rankings on Rivals, you'll note that Clemson is now all the way up in the 7th spot in the country with 10 commits. They do not have a 5-star yet, according to Rivals. 9 4-star commits, 1 3-star, giving them a 3.9 average, which when you sort Clemson by the average, puts them in the 6th spot, which basically tells you the Tigers right now have a top 10 class. Our poll question, brought to you by our friends over at Kaufman's Meat and Place right here in Lexington. Their Lexington brand sausage and meat's fantastic, including their steak selections. The fan poll says, where will Clemson's 2023 recruiting class finish? Is it a top 10 class? Excuse me, a top 5 class, top 10 class, top 20 class, or outside the top 20? As for what the next couple of days could hold for Clemson, another couple of opportunities for Clemson to have a little uptick, if you will, as several prospects, including Marcus Dixon, tight end, expected to make his decision known. Dixon will be sitting down with me later today to talk about his future and what that looks like with an impending commitment coming. Also, later this week, on Wednesday, safety 4-star Jalen Kilgore and defensive end Victor Burley, 6'4", 275-pound defensive end, will both render their decisions on where they want to go. Clemson wants to get all the hay in the barn as quickly as they can. How will this trend moving forward this week? If you said to me, Swanee, could Clemson land all three? I would say it's possible, yes. The odds that they land 2, probably really good. You could be looking at a class of 12 before we're done with the show this week, maybe more. With a quick break, we'll talk a little NBA action with you on the flip side here on the show that shakes the Southland. Keep it locked on Fox Sports Radio 1400.
As the country bounces back from COVID and mask mandates are lifted, your business needs a lift too. Promote your company right here, right now. Radio ads connect with 93% of Americans every week. That's more than Google, more than Facebook, more than TV. In fact, radio reaches 20% more millennials than TV. Want more of the people you want to talk to all in one place? Visit iHeartAdvertising.com and get AM and FM working for you. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
It's summertime at Galliana Kia on Greystone. And summertime is the best time to get out of your old car and upgrade to a cool new Kia. Featuring brand new Kias below MSRP. Like a 2022 Kia Rio LX, just $16,990. All new 2023 Galliana Kia Sportage LX, now in stock. Lease for just $259 per month. Plus, we'll give you exactly what your trade is worth down to the penny. High mileage, cosmetic issues, unreliable, all trade-ins are welcome. So if you want to get out of your old car and upgrade to a cool new Kia, don't miss the summertime sales event.
You should be driving a Kia from Galliana.
Galliana Kia. New Kias for sale below MSRP. Only at Galliana Kia on Greystone. I-126 Zoo Exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or KiaColumbia.com. Rio stock number 2K1124. Sportage stock number 3K3011. 36 month lease, $39.99 to Asani plus tax tag includes $225 closing fee. No security deposit subject to lender approval. Expires month that.
Man, these South Carolina temps. Keep comfortable with a Wilson'sAir.com weather update.
Not a day to be outside if you can help it. Temperatures smoking hot, 101. The heat index closer to 110. Hydrate and stay out of it if you can. For ABC Columbia Channel 25, I'm Tyler Ryan.
This report is sponsored by Dairy Queen. Hey, DQ fans, make sure to cast your vote for the official combo meal of MLB at DQ.com. With Tim Anderson's Burger and Blizzard Meal and Bryce Harper's Burger and Blizzard Meal, you just have to try both. Vote for your favorite at DQ.com. Happy tastes good.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members, of their families or their children, asking them to deploy, patrol, stay on watch, on point, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to bring them all the way home, to keep them secure, to have their backs for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs do whatever it takes to help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Find out how you can help at findwwp.org.
Christian men and women see a need in their community and then they step up to help their neighbor out. Celebrating 25 years of service in Columbia, HomeWorks is a Christ-centered home repair ministry providing free home repairs for elderly, disabled, and veteran homeowners here in the Midlands and throughout South Carolina. Repairs are made through the service of volunteers ages 13 and up. Find out how you can volunteer or donate to help purchase materials for these vital repairs. Visit homeworksofamerica.org.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Sports Radio, Fox Attitude. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400.
Follow the show on Twitter at Clemson Sports. That's easy. We're on Instagram as well, Facebook. You can find us. Be a part of what we do. Share our content. Help us grow. Thank you for what you do. Well, the NBA playoffs nearly a half a week ago. And I know what you're thinking. What do you mean, Swanee, nearly half a week ago? Well, it's Friday. This is what I was saying there. It's 19 days to have the NBA Finals, and it looks like we're going 7. Friday, the Warriors beat the Celtics 107-97. Yeah, Swanee, that's exaggeration. It had been half a week. Well, okay, what's half of 7? 3.5. All right, tonight when this game gets going, it will have been 3 days since these two teams played. Basically half a week. 107-97, the final score. Steph Curry, tremendous, and he had to be. 43, 10, and 4 in the game. Jason Tatum was good for the Celtics, 23, 11, and 6. Not good enough. A 10-point loss, staving off the brink of elimination and giving themselves an opportunity to fight for another day. Now, I said I thought Draymond Green had to be better. I thought Draymond Green had to produce. Did not. Just 2 points in the game, but 9 rebounds and 8 assists. Assists there being the key part of this, keeping his teammates involved. He did shoot 0 for 2 from three-point line, which not satisfied with. But I think it becomes increasingly more difficult now for the Celtics because they got to win at least one game at Golden State. And I know they've already done that, but Steph Curry was, quote, injured prior to Game 4 and played like Johnny Buckets. Who knows what he'll do tonight? I mean, Steph Curry is locked in during this series. He has been as good as we've seen in recent years in the NBA Finals. I would make the argument that at this point, if Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors were to lose this series and Curry continues to play the way he's played, this guy might get the MVP on the losing team. And I know that's rare. 34, 5-5 in Game 1, 29, 6-4 in Game 2, 31, 4-2 in Game 3, and 43, 10-4 in Game 4. 107-97, the final score for the Golden State Warriors, as Steph Curry has simply been cooking on the court. And so as he goes, it feels like the Warriors go. And clearly, Draymond Green doesn't have to score. I was wrong. I thought he would. But again, 8 assists, that's big. Curry was 14 of 26 with 7 3-pointers, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. Just the 5th guard in NBA history to have at least 40 points and 10 rebounds in a finals game. Draymond Green called the performance incredible. Said Steph put him on his back, willed them to win. The game they had to have. And with that, they steal back the momentum. They steal back home court advantage. And now have a chance tonight, again, 9 o'clock on ABC, to put the Celtics in the exact spot that it felt like Golden State was in going into Friday night's game. Back against the wall, in trouble. I mean, that's what, to me, is kind of wild about the whole thing. More than anything else is the fact that how quickly this series has gone from Game 1, where you felt like Golden State was in control, to the Celtics winning Game 2 and making you think, okay, well, it's not going to be a sweep, to winning Game 3 and make you think, holy moly, maybe Golden State's in a lot of trouble, to then, shoes on the other foot. Like, it is amazing to me. Now, you might not like the NBA. You might not like to watch it. You might not like these two teams. I mean, whatever the circumstance that you have for not tuning in is, that's on you. Sure, good. But to me, as an observer, how quickly it went from, okay, Golden State's just going to do this thing, to a couple games later going, Warriors, your run might be done, to now you feel good. Like, if we came out of this tomorrow or tonight, coming into tomorrow's show with Boston winning and seizing control again, only to have Golden State go back and steal it back for a Game 7 at home, like, I'm not like Clark W. Griswold, hair sewn to the carpet shock, right? That's been the fingerprint of this series. Every time, what did Roddy Piper used to say? Every time they get the questions, every time they think they have the answers, I change the questions. Something like that. Is that the old Roddy quote?
They think they got the answers. I change the questions.
Classic Roddy Piper, Piper's Pit. And that feels like this series, man. Every time I think I know something about it, there's a legendary performance by Steph Curry. There's a step forward in the pecking order of the NBA for Jason Tatum. Like, it's one thing after the other with a confidence-shaking result. I do think more now than ever, I think tonight Golden State wins at home. I think Boston probably wins at home, and then I think we have a Game 7 back in the Bay Area. But quite frankly, at this point, it's anybody's guess as to what could happen. Anybody's guess. 803-450-0086. So with that, I'll take Golden State to win tonight. But there's not a high level of confidence because this series has been wide open in a lot of respects. Follow the show on Twitter at Clemson Sports. That's Clemson news, notes, information, and more. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We'll hit a quick break. We'll come back. We'll put a bow on hour one. Stay with us.
Hey everyone, I'm CJ Toledano.
And I'm Alex Wong. If you want a podcast about the NBA and everything that's taking place off the court, I'm talking about fashion, I'm talking about social media, I'm talking about favorite post-game quotes, we've got you.
You know we're talking about starter jackets, Alex.
Yeah, I know, and you're going to remind me about the Charlotte Hornets one that my parents never bought me.
Ooh, I'm sorry about that.
Anyways, check out Running the Break with CJ and Alex on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
This is Michael David from Seattle. I'm 51 years old, and 6 months ago, I started taking Andro 400 to increase my testosterone. Since then, I've lost 35 pounds of fat, and my waist went from size 38 to size 32. I have more energy, and I look and feel 20 years younger. And now my wife tells me I have to take Andro 400.
Hi, this is Ron Johnson from Utah. After 10 weeks of taking Andro 400, I lost 13 pounds, and my waist went from 36 to 33. That was 8 years ago. I continue to take Andro 400, and I've maintained my weight at 172. Gained muscle and energy. I'm 63 now and feel better than I have in 30 years.
Andro 400, the natural way to increase testosterone, lose belly fat, gain energy, and feel great. Try Andro 400, the safe, effective, affordable way to boost your testosterone. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
DQ presents a burger and blizzard meal matchup. Today's matchup is Bryce Harper's new DQ meal with flamethrower signature stacked burger, fries, and a cookie dough blizzard versus Tim Anderson's new DQ meal with a bacon 2-cheese deluxe signature stacked burger, fries, and an Oreo blizzard. Who picks the winner? That's you. Visit DQ.com to cast your vote for which meal should be the official meal of MLB. But first, try them both today. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Have you ever heard of the Yips? What about the Twisties? Join me, Justin Su'a, for Losing Control, a new podcast about one of the strangest phenomena in sports, the yips, or when an athlete or elite performer suddenly finds themselves unable to do the thing that they do better than almost everyone else on the planet. That's Losing Control, a new podcast from Sports Illustrated Studios and iHeartRadio. Listen to Losing Control on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to ditch the car and start rollerblading to work.
I look ridiculous.
You look ridiculous!
You don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your organs on the black market.
Lie back. This is gonna hurt.
Yeah, that hurts. You don't need to rent out your apartment to drifters.
I made a fire with the wood in your bedroom.
That's my dresser!
And your closet door.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell all your belongings and live in a commune.
These dungarees belong to all of us now, Tom.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Come on, smile. Oh, honey, he's still not smiling.
Maybe he's not a smiler.
Yeah, maybe he's just not a happy baby.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Or maybe he's teething.
Maybe it's just a phase.
Maybe he has autism, and we can definitely do something to help.
Maybe is all you need to find out more about autism. No big, joyful smiles by 6 months is one early sign. Learn the others at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Now you can talk back to Teddy, Rob, or Lawton. Just look for the microphone on your iHeartRadio app and share your thoughts with Fox Sports Radio 1400.
Final segment in hour number one here, the show that shakes the Southland. Clemson Sports Talk again. College World Series dominated by, the Super Regionals. The route to the College World Series has been dominated by SEC teams, as so far 5 out of the 6 teams in are from the Southeastern Conference or are future Southeastern Conference teams. I mean, that is just a wild thing to consider. Texas A&M, Arkansas, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma have already booked tickets to the College World Series. Tennessee would have been there had it not been for Notre Dame. That would have made it a 6-for-6 special today. Instead, it's 5 out of 6 with Auburn and Oregon State tonight, potentially making it 6 out of 7, or what will be 6 out of 8 as Stanford, UConn. Obviously, neither of those teams are from the SEC. But the broader point being, and I said this at the beginning of the show, I don't think it's a big deal. Like, I think as leagues expand and the amount of leagues contract, things like this are going to pop up. It's just inevitable. It would almost be like saying to me today, like, oh man, Swanee, can you believe that 2 NFC South teams are playing in the NFC Championship, or 2 AFC East teams? Like, that's the nature of how this works. And when you've got leagues set up the way they are, now certainly it's dominant when it's a series or a tournament, but I don't blink and go, oh man, that's it for there goes Atlantic Coast Conference baseball. 803-450-0086, although it was a disappointing week for the ACC in the Super Regionals, as only Notre Dame made it out. Again, the big news to kind of follow on this front is, what does the advancement of Link Jarrett and Notre Dame do for his potential hiring? Again, Florida State parted ways with their head coach, Mike Martin Jr., the son of legendary head coach Mike Martin, on Friday. His father was the winningest coach in Division I baseball history. Mike Martin, I don't know who Mike Morton is. I apologize. If Mike Morton's out there, don't worry, buddy. You still have a job, I think. But Mike Martin Jr. Was relieved of his duty on Friday. And now, again, I think for Florida State, maybe the Seminoles, who went 1-2 in the NCAA Regional to end their season at 34-25 and 9th place in the Atlantic Coast Conference, I think that Florida State may have believed one of two things. Either A, that Clemson might be getting close with Link Jarrett, or B, that Link Jarrett would be on the market today at Notre Dame. And instead, they beat the top-rated team in the country 2 out of 3 in Tennessee, and they got plenty of baseball left to play. So I don't know what the sentiment is today in Tallahassee, but I would imagine that's not great, because I would imagine that with the change at the top, these guys would have hoped, the Florida State administration, I should say, would have hoped that they might be getting ready to make a big announcement. Instead, now they wait. What does that mean for Clemson in their timeline? We're not sure. Still not certain what's going to play out for the Tigers. I know this, there has been a considerable amount of excitement around the name Eric Bakich, Michigan's head coach and a former Clemson assistant. So from that standpoint, still kind of eyeballing this whole thing. Again, I have talked to Graham Neff, and look forward to having him on the program once they conclude the search and a new coach is named. Also looking forward to having the new coach on the program to talk about, the expectations or his expectations for the future of the Clemson baseball program as well. So there will be some great interviews coming. And, of course, we'll put those over on our website as well, as there is no doubt a lot of interest around what these two ACC programs managed to pull off when it comes down to their next head coaches, given the fact that, in this league, I mentioned Virginia Tech earlier. Like if Florida State or Clemson was at the top of the league right now, there's probably more respect garnered by the conference just because of their name and their history in the sport. That's just a byproduct of success. But instead, these two programs, which some may deem storied in terms of the success that they've had compared to their contemporaries in the league, are both now looking for a head coach. So that is an additional storyline to follow over the next little bit for sure. 803-450-0086. Text line and phone line, always available to you. Coming up in hour number 2, we typically get hooked up with our good buddy William Qualkenbush. Instead, he is on vacation. That will not be the case. Never heard back from Aaron Fitt or Kendall Rogers from D1Baseball.com, as I'm sure they are just covered up with everything going on as we get closer and closer to the College World Series. Nonetheless, I will try to get on with one of those guys here in the next couple of days. So, more of me, less of them, coming up in hour number 2 of the show. We'll hit a quick break. We'll bounce back with more on the show that shakes the Southland.
Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan on Columbia's home for sports. Fox Sports Radio 1400. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
I understand the right lane is blocked. I-20 eastbound before US 378, exit 61 because of debris in the roadway. Also a disabled vehicle. Bush River Road and Lake Murray Boulevard had an accident. I-20 westbound at I-77, exit 76A. From the 103.5 FM WBOC Traffic Center, I'm Gary Mills with Columbia's most dependable traffic.
This report is sponsored by Dairy Queen. Hey DQ fans, make sure to cast your vote for the official combo meal of MLB at DQ.com. With Tim Anderson's Burger and Blizzard Meal and Bryce Harper's Burger and Blizzard Meal, you just have to try both. Vote for your favorite at DQ.com. Happy tastes good.
Attention, anyone shopping for a new Jeep, turn up your radio now. Announcing the special order $1 sales event at Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone. Here's how it works. Visit Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone and order the exact Jeep you want. Put just $1 down. Plus, we'll give you a $1,000 special order discount. No limitations, no exclusions. Just order any Jeep model, any Jeep trim level, and it's yours for just $1 down and $1,000 off MSRP. Best of all, your price is locked in and you're protected against a Jeep price increase. Other Jeep dealers are charging tens of thousands of dollars over MSRP. But right now, you can order the exact Jeep you want for just $1 down and $1,000 below MSRP.
Gotta go to Galliana.
$1 down, $1,000 below MSRP Jeep sales event at Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone. I-126 Zoo exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or GallianaSC.com. Example 2022 Jeep Wrangler. $1 down, $618 per month for 60 months at 4% APR. Plus tax and tag includes $225 closing fee. Expires month end.
Stop avoiding your erectile dysfunction issue. Peak Performance for Men is offering their best offer yet. Call today to book your free consultation and free blood flow evaluation. Peak Performance for Men helps over 80% of men who receive the treatment experience long-term improvement. All it takes is one phone call for a free consultation and free blood flow evaluation. Call 803-302-8181. That's 803-302-8181.
Imagine if I told you that an earthquake was going to hit tomorrow right where you live. that it would be 6.5 in magnitude with aftershocks occurring twice 25 minutes apart, you'd no doubt talk with your loved ones and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you an earthquake will happen tomorrow, but what if it does? Shouldn't you have a plan? Visit scemd.org and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by the South Carolina Emergency Management Division, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
Major key alert! Don't ever play yourself. Life is like school. You will be tested, so pass it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com.
Stay focused. Now that's a major key alert.
Brought to you by GetSchooled and the Ad Council.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
What are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
Well, what are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. Don't you remember me? Don't you know that we miss you?
Miss me? Who misses me?
You know, all your friends in the forest. The trees, the pond, that little fort that you made out of branches. We all miss you.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
The forest is not that far away. Have an adventure today. I'm sure your mom would take you.
You're right. I should get out. I want to have fun. Play in puddles, catch frogs, and climb trees. Hey, Mom!
Yeah, hon. Steven, what is that in your hand?
It's my sense of adventure, Mom. It's telling me we need to get out of the house and have some fun in nature today.
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
WCOS Columbia, Fox Sports Radio 1400, an iHeart radio station available everywhere on our free iHeart Radio app. Number one for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Ready, set.
Just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
It is hour number 2. That's Drive Time right here on the show that shakes the Southland Clemson Sports Talk. Lawton Swan with you on a hot Monday, but having a good time. Recruiting hot in Tigertown, as we mentioned earlier. Interview up with Avion Terrell, commitments over the weekend. Clemson today picking up the commit from an NFL legacy and Jamal Anderson, his father, the Dirty Bird originator. Hoping to catch up with him later today. A couple of other commitments coming up over the next few days. I talked with Champ Thompson, defensive lineman out of the state of Georgia last night. We're staying busy. $1 over on our website for 3 months of coverage. After that, $63.17. So Clemson, one of the things that I think surprises a lot of people is that the Tigers don't offer a lot of players. And Dabo Swinney's fairly stringent rules about not taking visits elsewhere. That rubs me the wrong way. But Swinney's kind of thought process on this is, look, we are not only committed to you, we're not going to go get another player position. Got it, want it. It works well, and we just want to do it this way for clarity's sake. So that hit a lost wash. You go on and on about it. And one of the things that doesn't happen often, and we're continuing to monitor the situation with Daniel Joseph, who is committed to Clemson, is that his guys either A, break off their commitment, or B, flip. Now, Clemson, of course, lost a couple of guys when Brent Venables took the job in Oklahoma, and that's an understandable position. You know, that's something that happens. And I really respect players who say, you know what, I'm going to stick it out because I'm not necessarily committed to a coach. I'm committed to the program, and I think that this is the program where I can be successful and have my talent develop. But there are other guys that feel differently, and they'll change their commitments, and it's the way it goes. all that being said, today Georgia flipped Josh Miller, who was previously committed to Penn State. Miller received an offer from the Bulldogs during a visit to the Classic City back on May 7th. And he said in a post on his Twitter account, first and foremost, I want to thank God for all the blessings and opportunities that he has given me. I want to thank Penn State and the fans for taking a chance on me, supporting me and loving me. This wasn't an easy decision to make. However, after sitting down with my family of the role models, listening to my heart, I want to take my recruitment to another level. With that being said, I will be flipping my commitment to the Georgia Bulldogs. Josh Miller out of Richmond, Virginia, now committed to Georgia. 3-star offensive lineman, 4-star, maybe depending on where you look. But, this is the thing, quite frankly, for me, that I appreciate about covering Clemson. Not that these things never happen, but that these things rarely happen. And so I often feel like when we interview players, when we talk to guys that are going to Clemson, there isn't a huge concern on my part, that there's going to be a rewrite of history. Outside of something major happening like a coaching change, the majority of these young men are simply excited to be at Clemson, and there's not a whole lot else you can do to flip their mind, to change their mind. And I appreciate that. I think it's a lost art, so to speak, or a lost part of the recruiting process in a lot of respects. And so Dabo Swinney's a little old-fashioned, but it works. And again, today landing 4-star linebacker out of the state of Georgia, Jamal Anderson, the potential for another couple, maybe 3 pickups over the next few days for your Clemson Tigers. Now, in other news, get this. According to an open records release, Texas A&M officials asked the SEC to consider suspending or fining Nick Saban for his comments that he made about Texas A&M recruiting. Again, if you don't recall, Nick Saban essentially accused Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher of unscrupulous recruiting practices, including using NIL to, quote, buy every player on their team, or they, quote, bought every player on their team. Texas A&M University President Catherine Banks and Director of Athletics Ross Bjork told SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey the conference should consider suspending and fining Nick Saban for his comments. Through an open records request obtained by On3 Network, Bjork sent Sankey on May 19th an email which was co-signed by Banks. There were also records of multiple phone calls, or at least conversations that morning. According to the email exchange, Sankey and Texas A&M football coach Jimbo Fisher spoke on the phone prior to Fisher's press conference, where he went in on Nick Saban as well. So even though this thing is now in the past, it certainly doesn't look like it's going into the past. The email stated Coach Saban's statement was a blatant violation of SEC bylaws regarding sportsmanship. More significantly, without citing any facts to support his statement, Coach Saban is accusing every single player at Texas A&M's recruiting class and current football team of violating NCAA NIL guidelines and Texas state law. Now, if you don't remember, Jimbo Fisher's comments back were absolutely riveting. Some of the most riveting comments, perhaps, about Coach Saban that we'd ever heard of. And the league eventually reprimanded both coaches after it was all said and done, in part because Saban's comments were certainly bad enough. But Jimbo Fisher just peeled back every layer and essentially made it out to sound like any success that Nick Saban has had is only success because of the malfeasance that goes on behind the scenes for him. Alabama opens their season September the 30th against Utah State, and they host Texas A&M on October the 8th, if you want to keep your eyeballs on that story. But, I mean, first and foremost, the thing you have to recognize is that, yes, the statements by Saban were inappropriate. The follow-up by Jimbo Fisher was relentless. And so I don't know if these two guys will be golfing together anytime soon or exchanging Christmas cards. And I know that Fisher kind of wants it gone by the wayside. But at this point, man, that October the 8th matchup, I said it then, I'll say it now. That is going to be one you do not want to miss, because the gloves have come off. Of course, Alabama lost last season to Texas A&M, but given the past month or so, that's just the half of it. That's just it. Not even. It is wide open what we're seeing right now in the world of Alabama and Texas A&M, two of the top teams in college football, going after it during the offseason. 803-450-0086. Text line, phone line. Be a part of the show anytime. Thank you again for all you do to support our program as we continue to grow. One of the storylines here today, one of the biggest storylines, obviously that of Jamal Anderson, the commit to Clemson. But, I want to take it one step further and really hone in on, what is the future of Clemson defensively with Wes Goodwin as the defensive coordinator? And the one trend that we see at this point, given the recruitment and the commitment from Anderson, is that the thought process about the value of versatility and players like Trenton Simpson, like Barrett Carter, is apparently going to continue to be a staple for Clemson, because that's the mold and that's the ilk, if you will, of what they're hoping to get from Jamal Anderson. And furthermore, I think the other thing you have to kind of ask yourself is, when you look at Clemson with the 10 commits, the job they're doing, with a unheralded and unknown defensive coordinator leading the way, what might that turn into if Clemson has tremendous success this year under Wes Goodwin. Like, you saw a sample. You know, you go to the mall, and there's that person standing out, and they're giving away like the free chicken, one little piece. You saw a sample. And against Iowa State, Clemson's defense did not at any point, and you can go back and find the tapes of this show, did not at any point look like Brent Venables was in Oklahoma. I mean, to me, it looked like Clemson's defense. But I can only imagine if the Tigers have a high level of success this season, and if that defense produces elite numbers, what could the recruiting trail look like for the 2024 cycle? Right? Like, what could it look like moving forward if all of a sudden the name Wes Goodwin isn't just some who, but some, oh yeah, I want to go play for that guy. That's the kind of player I want to play for. Or excuse me, that's the kind of coach players want to play for. And so from the defensive recruiting aspect, more so than offense, obviously, losing Tony Elliott to Virginia is a big deal, but more so from the defensive aspect, to me, Clemson has as much growth potential as they've had in a while, because not that there's a back step, not that, you know, this group or this recruiting class is going to be a down year on the defensive side of the ball because of the changes. I mean, the Tigers already have Avion Terrell committed 4-star. David Ojebe, 4-star defensive end. Terrell, by the way, a corner. Brandon Strozier, nearly a 4-star cornerback. Now Jamal Anderson, 4-star linebacker. I mean, there is strength and talent in this group. And let's not forget Kylan Webb as well, another 4-star. He's considered he's considered an athlete in this class, but he's trending towards being a defensive pickup for Clemson on that front. So this is a good group, and I almost left him off the list because he's just listed. Kylan Webb is just listed as athlete on our website. I'm going to actually put him, I'm going to switch it up while I got you. Defensive backs, that's where we're going to situate him for now. And we'll continue to see. But yeah, I think the growth potential of this group over the next 6 months through the end of the calendar college football campaign, and maybe not necessarily the growth of this group, but the resume of Johnny Carrots, Wes Goodwin, can potentially tick Clemson up another notch in the mind's eye of 2024 prospects. I mean, I think that is a real storyline to follow. I think the commitment of Anderson again shows that Clemson is not changing that philosophy all that much. Going to be a very similar, a very similar style of play defensively under Wes Goodwin. And that is an attacking downhill style, but with linebackers that can not only get out in space, that can not only contain the edge, but also have the ability to not only run with running backs coming out of the backfield or tight ends, but maybe even challenge some with wide receivers in the slot if necessary. The game has changed a lot. The speed of the game has changed a lot. And the emphasis on playing quick is something that we've heard a lot about from Wes Goodwin. But additionally, being quick, to me, is another huge part of that for the Clemson Tigers. And it would seem, from this observer's perspective, that Jamal Anderson fits that billing exactly. And we are looking forward to talking with Jamal tonight, maybe even tomorrow, about his commitment to Clemson. 803-450-0086. Text line, phone line. Be a part of the show anytime, any place, and anywhere. You know, we talked with Monty Lee just after he was fired at Clemson. And he talked glowingly about some of the prospects that were coming into Clemson, and that if whatever or whomever the coaching staff became could keep these guys together, that, you know, the future was very bright at Clemson. But the Tigers have lost a prospect. We've seen some players transfer as well. But the Clemson Tiger baseball team loses one of the top prospects in their class. We will tell you who it is in just a few minutes. 803-450-0086. That is a text line and the phone line. And again, thank you for being a part of what we do here, the show that shakes the Southland, Clemson Sports Talk, on a Monday afternoon. We keep it rolling on Fox Sports Radio 1400 the Midlands and around the world on the iHeart Radio app.
Now, your chance at a trip to our 2022 iHeartRadio Music Festival. Text the nationwide keyword WIN to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's WIN to 200-200.
Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Traffic accidents holding you up I-26 eastbound, mile marker 91. Debris in the roadway has the right lane blocked. I-20 eastbound at 378. Also an accident Nursery Road and Weed Drive, and I-20 westbound at I-77, exit 76. There's going to be an accident. By the way, turn those ACs to meat locker, not dairy products. It's hot. From the 103.5 FM WBOC.
This report is sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer. You've heard the latest news, traffic, and weather. But there's something else you should hear. Consider getting a COVID-19 booster, as recommended by the CDC. Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Don't miss this. Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's huge summer sale is going on now. 15% off all cleaning services. Carpet, rugs, upholstery, tile, and even air ducts. All 15% off. Use promo code Summer Sale at ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res, the right way to clean.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Possible Finance. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. No guarantee of credit score increase. Terms apply. Available at PossibleFinance.com/privacy.
I screwed up my credit when I was younger.
I often find myself scraping by right before rent is due.
If you need cash or are looking to rebuild credit, Possible Finance can loan you up to $500 in minutes. Good credit not required. Just text SCORE to 64,000 to download the Possible Finance app.
Within an hour of applying, there was money on my debit card. Where else are you going to get money at 10 p.m. on a Sunday night?
Repay the loan in installments and change your payment date with no fee.
For someone who's building credit, this is the best. My credit score went up after the first 2 payments.
I had trouble paying, so I moved my payment 2 weeks later without hurting my score. It helped me big time.
Just text SCORE to 64,000 to download the Possible Finance app and get up to $500 in minutes. Text SCORE to 64,000 to download Possible Finance. Text SCORE to 64,000.
Type 2 diabetes is a serious chronic health threat in America. It affects tens of millions of people. Many people who have the disease don't know it. Diabetes can cause health problems such as heart disease, strokes, amputations, and blindness. Talk to your doctor, get screened if you're at risk, and learn how to avoid becoming one of the millions of new cases of diabetes each year. You can help prevent type 2 diabetes. A message from CDC and HHS.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving supports victims of drunk driving, drug driving, and underage drinking at no charge. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. That's MADD.org.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Gotta get this all straightened out. Keep a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Looking for South Carolina's favorite country? You'll find it at 97.5 WCOS.
Happy Monday, Clemson Sports Talk, Lawton Swan, Hour 2. Again, no William Qualkenbush there. Sorry. That's the way it goes. It happens. He's on vacation. Give the man a break. Let the man have a little break. All right, so the Clemson Tiger baseball team, we talked with Monty Lee just after he was fired at Clemson. And one of the byproducts, I mentioned this earlier, one of the things that can happen, football, baseball, basketball, coaching changes, guys drop off. Well, the top position player in Clemson's 2022 recruiting class that was expected to enroll this month is no longer going to go to Clemson. Chris Maldonado, an infielder out of Short Hills, New Jersey, goes to Seton Hall Prep High School. His brother played at Pittsburgh. He's got another brother who's a right-handed pitcher at Vanderbilt. He is not going to be coming to Clemson at this point. He will no longer be attending Clemson following Monty Lee's dismissal. And unfortunately, this is what happens. And so I think it begs the question, quite frankly. I think it does beg the question, like, timing of changing in coaches, and when is it best to make a move? And should you, as a athletic department, before you, like, let's just say, for instance, you didn't fire Monty Lee yet, okay? Let's just say Monty Lee's still employed at this point. And I'm not saying you want to pull the wool over the eyes of players. But I do think that when you have an elongated gap between your firing and your hiring, you look like you're not prepared. Monty Lee was fired in May 31st, 2 weeks ago. And I'm not saying that this group isn't prepared, but the perception that you're not, the perception that you can't find a coach, the perception makes it feel like your program isn't desirable. So for me, if I am, if I'm the athletic director, if I'm Graham Neff, and I know we are parting ways with Monty Lee, I don't want this thing to drag out. Like, I want to say, all right, Coach Lee, appreciate you. And then in 2 days, I want to have the press conference for the next guy. And I don't care if there's backlash from people that say, oh, you already knew who you were going to get before you fired him. You should. You should. I mean, you keep your eyes on the road when you're driving, don't you? You should know what's coming next. And so it's not to say that Clemson's in that spot, but I just feel like, look, if you go from Monty Lee to the next guy in a couple of days, 3-4 days, uncertainty about your program doesn't exist. Maybe Maldonado had a relationship with whoever Clemson brings in. Maybe he doesn't decommit. With the transfer portal and everything being what it is, it may end up that it's not a huge deal because perhaps whoever arrives at Clemson can go out and get some of the fixes that they feel necessary from the portal. But to me, 2 weeks is too long to have to wait when you're going to talk about the expectations of the program being a top 15 program in the country. A top 15 program, in my opinion, has a coach days after they fire their guy, not weeks. Well, they were in the postseason. Then keep Monty Lee on board. You know, tell Coach Lee, say, look, Coach Lee, we're gonna have to back this meeting up. I've got some other stuff I got to deal with. Even if that means that you're kind of ducking Coach Lee for a little while. I mean, I don't think anybody wants to treat a person poorly. But what I think the perception is at this point for some people is, well, if Clemson baseball is such a desirable job, why is it sitting open for 2 weeks? Fair point. I mean, there's the logistics behind it and the reality that it just is something that begins to fester. It begins to fester. 803-450-0086. Text line, phone line. Let me know, am I wrong on that? Like, I'm not saying you need to have the ink and the contracts printed out for the next guy already. But doesn't it make your business, and this business for Graham Neff right now is the baseball job, doesn't it make your business look like they are better prepared for the uncertainties of the future? And I know the coaches potentially are out there still in Florida State, put themselves in a similar spot, firing Mike Martin Jr. last week. But had Clemson waited until this past Friday to fire Monty Lee, you'd only be a couple of days in right now. And the recruits would still be on board. I mean, it's just a thought process, okay? Let me know. Am I right or wrong? Patience would not have been bad in a situation like this, in my opinion. Stay with us.
iHeartRadio Earth is here with little tips for a healthier planet. Less than 1% of water on Earth is drinkable, and humans are using it faster than nature can replenish it. Reduce the amount of water you use in the bathroom by taking shorter showers and turning the water off while you brush your teeth. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
It's summertime at Galliana Kia on Greystone. And summertime is the best time to get out of your old car and upgrade to a cool new Kia. Featuring brand new Kias below MSRP. Like a 2022 Kia Rio LX, just $16,990. All new 2023 Galliana Kia Sportage LX, now in stock. Lease for just $259 per month. Plus, we'll give you exactly what your trade is worth, down to the penny. High mileage, cosmetic issues, unreliable, all trade-ins are welcome. So if you want to get out of your old car and upgrade to a cool new Kia, don't miss the summertime sales event.
You should be driving a Kia from Galliana.
Galliana Kia. New Kias for sale below MSRP. Only at Galliana Kia on Greystone. I-126 Zoo Exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or KiaColumbia.com. Rio stock number 2K1124. Sportage stock number 3K3011. 36 months lease, $39.99 to Asani plus tax tag includes $225 closing fee. No security deposit subject to lender approval. Expires month end.
This is Doug Gottlieb. Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by eBay Motors.
If there was a second NBA Mount Rushmore, would Steph Curry make the cut? His influence and imprint on the game of basketball are unmatched. He's got the records, awards, the best shooter we've ever seen, and he's the only unanimous MVP ever. Larry Bird, Bill Russell, Kobe, they're near locks for a second Mount Rushmore. And with a fourth title, I think Steph would be too. I'm Colin Cowherd.
Getting stuck in traffic is part of owning a car. Getting stuck because you don't have the right parts doesn't have to be. That's because eBay Motors has all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. So keep moving and moving in style at ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Are you ready for summer? Wherever summer takes you, make sure you take your favorite radio station with you on your adventures with the free iHeartRadio app. That's right, no matter how far from home you travel, this station, the music you love, and the best podcasts in the world will be right there with you in your pocket.
Summer soundtrack.
Sunscreen, flip-flops, and the free iHeart app. Must-haves for any summer checklist. Download the free iHeartRadio app and discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love this summer.
iHeartRadio. Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Want to hit a home run with your smart speaker? Alexa, play Fox Sports Radio 1400 on iHeartRadio.
That sounds like a pretty good choice to me.
Back at it on a Monday afternoon, Lawton Swan, Clemson Sports Talk. So earlier, we talked a little bit about the SEC and their dominance, the future SEC members and their dominance as it pertains to the College World Series at this point, with a couple of games remaining to be settled, including tonight, Auburn taking on Oregon State. And the Auburn Tigers could become the 6th SEC team out of the 8 teams in the College World Series. Again, I'm including Oklahoma and Texas in the SEC, even though they are not yet members. But some news did come out late last week about the Big 12. Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF all reached an exit deal with the American Athletic Conference, and they will join the Big 12 next season, 2023. Cincinnati, Houston, UCF will all be playing in the Big 12. Now, this is important for those teams specifically because of recruiting, which we've talked about here on the program a good bit today. I can't tell you the difference that it should make for those 3 schools to be able to go out and recruit as Big 12 programs, even less Texas and Oklahoma. Additionally, BYU, who is an independent and is joining that league, will also join in time to start the 2023-2024 football season. Oklahoma and Texas will leave for the SEC in 2025, which could create a strange dynamic, obviously, in the Big 12 next season. But there is the potential that that timeline could change. If it doesn't, the Big 12 through 2025 will be played at 14 teams for 2 seasons. So kind of a strange, addition, I guess you'd say, to this storyline as we follow the ever expanding waistlines. Is that the right word? The ever expanding conferences in college football. According to the terms, Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF will each pay $18 million to exit the American Athletic Conference. The schools will be paying a $10 million exit fee in 4 annual payments through 2024, and they agreed to pay an additional $8 million spread out over 12 payments from 2025 through 2036 to be able to leave at the end of essentially a calendar year, right? So July 1st, 2023, they joined the Big 12. Next season's college football will feature a Big 12 with Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, and BYU. And I'm okay with that. And it'll feature at this point Texas and Oklahoma. And you know what? It wouldn't surprise me in the least if the Big 12 just goes ahead and tries to figure out how to get Texas and Oklahoma to leave as well with their financial compensation that they'd certainly get from those 2 schools, and do it think you won't if you are the Big 12. And Oklahoma and Texas know this too, but you can't let them put the screws to you either, right? Because you've got the contract. You've got the rights to keep them locked in. But if they just dominate those new schools, if they just dominate, if Texas and Oklahoma just beat the brakes off of Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, and BYU before they come in, then your league takes a hit. And you can avoid said hit by just kind of having a little escape clause. Once you know you got all your teams in the boat, which it looks like they're going to, then come up with a deal that you think is fairly reasonable and send the Sooners and the Longhorns east. Be like, adios, guys. No concern there. We're good. Have fun. Thanks for the money. Thanks for the memories. And I just, man, when Texas A&M left the Big 12, that definitely left a vacancy between Texas A&M and Texas. And now with Oklahoma leaving the Big 12, that's going to leave a vacancy for Oklahoma State. I would make the argument, and that, again, I've always said, I like South Carolina as a rival. South Carolina as a rival football program is one that I always want to play because there's some of my identity wrapped up in the Gamecocks, wrapped up in the rivalry, wrapped up in the matchups against one another. And because of that, even though you would say, some of you would pound a drum that said, I hate South Carolina. If I said, do you hate them enough to never play them again? You would say, no, I don't hate them that much. I want to play them. I want to beat them. But playing them and beating them also comes along with being beat by them sometimes. No, I got to have it, right? So they are a part of your identity. They're a part of who you are as a fan. It's Luke without Vader, right? That doesn't compute. Can't have one without the other. And I can't imagine being in Oklahoma State and knowing that rivalry, is being split the way it is. So as they've already said, Bedlam is on life support. We'll see what happens. Maybe they can find a way to schedule each other, but what a weird dynamic these moves around the country and some of these major conferences is having on some of the great matchups in our sport. 803-450-0086. Text us anytime, anyplace, anywhere. We'll hit a quick break here on a Monday afternoon, and we'll come back and put a big old bow on the show that shakes the Southland. Stay with us.
As a marketer, you want to reach everyone, adults, teens, millennials, but it's not like these groups all hang out in the same place, right? Actually wrong. They're all right here, listening to radio commercials just like this one. Radio ads connect with 93% of Americans every week. That's more than Google, more than Facebook, more than TV. In fact, radio reaches 20% more millennials than TV. Want more of the people you want to talk to all in one place? Visit iHeartAdvertising.com and get AM/FM working for you. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I want to be a glass countertop in a new home.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's best birthday present.
When I grow up, I want to be a football stadium.
When I grow up, I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day.
When I grow up, I want to be a fancy
backsplash.
I grow up,
I want to be a bike that races around the country.
When I grow up,
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
I want to be a rocking chair on a sunny porch.
I want to be a skyscraper. I want to be.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. A public service advertisement brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it. You hear it every time you finish a meal and never feel anything. But if we were able to associate this sound with a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural response from you. Save the food. Why are we doing this, you may ask? Save the food. Because this ad is trying to change your after-meal behavior through brainwashing. Because food waste costs the average family $1,500 a year. Save the food, cha-ching, and $1,500 extra bucks is like getting a pay raise. Save the food, cha-ching, you're promoted, which could pay for your child's braces. Save the food, cha-ching, you're promoted.
Check out my braces.
So when you hear this sound, rethink your behavior. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit SaveTheFood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
We need you to help the Federation Center of the Blind continue its life-changing mission of opening more doors to blind South Carolinians. Please call us at 803-254-3777 or email nfbsc@sc.rr.com to see how you can volunteer or make a donation.
Fox Sports Radio 1400. Online at foxsportsradio1400.com. On your phone with the iHeartRadio app and on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos. An iHeartRadio station.
What have you done for me lately? It's a fair question. Just don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Don't forget history. Lucky for us at Clemson, the answers to the questions, what have you done for me lately, and what have you done always, are the same. We win.
Final segment on a Monday afternoon. NBA Finals tonight, Game 5. Golden State, Boston. I'm going to take the Warriors here. My confidence interval about 2. So basically, I'm almost 0 for the series. I really think I'm 1 of 3. I got the opener. I think the Warriors do win tonight, though. They're going to be riding a lot of momentum. The arena will be rocking. That place will be just going bonkers. And I think that'll be hard. I think that will be hard for the Celtics to overcome. They are still, in my opinion, the less seasoned of these two teams. And a momentum, in a series that's kind of driven by momentum. I just, I think about what fans in that arena with the opportunity, and not to mention this too. Golden State, like if you are a team that wins over and over and over and you have a great run of success, it can get difficult at times. I think it can get difficult to maintain that high level of play, that high level of fandom. You just get burned out a little bit. But when you've had your toes dangled over the fire of potentially falling into a championship series being lost, I think you probably have a little more gusto from the fans, from the players, from the coaching staff. I mean, I just think that it would, I don't know a great example of this, but if I think about anytime you're maybe driving down the road, right, and you're getting a little tired, you're getting a little weary. I mean, there's a lot of techniques. I'm sure some of you have done the old roll the window down, stick the head out the window. Common technique. The other is to pull over and get you a cup of coffee. And then you're more aware, you're more alert, you're kind of ready to go. And that's what I think has probably happened to the Golden State Warriors. I think the Golden State Warriors are, quite frankly, I think they are excited about the opportunity that's now in front of them. And again, because of that fact, I think it's pretty obvious, because of that fact, this gives the Golden State Warriors a little bit of a leg up. 803-450-0086. All right, a couple of little news notes here and items for you. I'm excited about this. We are streaming the show live again. And quite frankly, looking forward to adding the live video component back as well. And definitely looking forward to doing more recruiting interviews this way. Again, if you've never subscribed to our website, take a look. Just go check it out. ClemsonSportsTalk.com. We're Clemson owned and operated. If you're a Clemson graduate, man, we do appreciate you. If you're not a Clemson graduate, we also appreciate you as well. But we have a little grad tag for our Clemson grads. And that's a pretty cool opportunity, to support somebody that's a Clemson graduate yourself. So did that make any sense? That's why we got the ring in the logo over on our Twitter account in the banner or whatever you call it. Again, great to see Bible Belt Beauty stopping by today. Eric, Anthony, and others on the live feed earlier in the show. And I tell you, I am excited about the future. I'm telling you, Luke Wenzel's come on with us, and he's doing a tremendous job. Tyrese Ingram also crushing it, and our expanded recruiting coverage. I think you're really going to feel the difference when you go check that out on our website. Again, hard to believe we are in the middle of June. I started thinking the other day, I'm like, oh, my goodness, 4th of July is going to be here. And then boom. It'll be ACC kickoff and then college football season. So it's not far. It's not far at all. Not far off at all. All right, couple of quick notes again, and we'll get you out of here. Don't forget, on the recruiting front, there are a couple of key commitments coming up in the next few days. First and foremost, Marcus Dixon, tight end, commits tomorrow. Clemson's looking to have 2 tight ends in this class. They've got Olsen Henry already committed. Then on Wednesday, June the 15th, Jalen Kilgore, the safety, and defensive end, Victor Burley, both expected to commit. Not necessarily to Clemson, but both guys are expected to render a decision. Let me put it that way. Again, thank you so much for being a part of what we do. Thank you for supporting us. Tell your friends and neighbors and your friends' neighbors about the show that shakes the Southland Clemson Sports Talk. We keep it real. We have a good time and a lot of fun. And we absolutely hope that you have fun tuning into the program. Hit up the website, put the .com on it, doggone it. That's ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Again, that's ClemsonSportsTalk.com. All right, we'll hit a quick break here. We'll come back with more. What am I talking about? We got to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, as always, y'all take care now. And go Tigers.
Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan on Columbia's home for sports.